Here's some tips on that. And these are the things that I use in my day-to-day. At work, instead of having a candy jar, we have a fruit jar. So I know that it's really, really easy to pass by and to pick up candy. It's also very easy to pass by and pick up fruit. So maybe that's something to incorporate too. Something that I do at my house is I'll put a fruit bowl right as I walk in the door, because usually the first thing I'm thinking of whenever when I get home is I'm hungry and I want to eat. So that's the first thing that I see. And then if I bypass that fruit bowl, I also have another fruit bowl that I put in the refrigerator, and I put it right in the front. So that again, I have that second reminder to eat my fruits and vegetables. Let's see, snacks on fruit, or you can snack on fruit too. Fruit is really portable and easy to take with you. You can put it in your purse or your bag. Don't forget about it though, or you'll be like me and you have fruit mashed at the bottom of your purse, and it's great. You have applesauce in your purse, and it didn't start as applesauce. Okay, great plate tip number 6. Switch to fat-free or low-fat dairy options. So who in here drinks 2%? Who in here drinks milk, period? Okay, now who drinks 2% milk? Who drinks 1%? And who drinks 0%? Oh, good, so we do have some 0%ers. Is anybody on the half scale?
Where's the whole
What's that mean?
Oh, there's almond milk? Yeah.
Silk.
Okay,
Silk.
whole milk. Well, here we're all about being healthy, so, but yes, there is whole milk options.
Well, but with the whole milk organic, you get the omega-3 fatty acids.
Sure. There's omega-3, yeah, there's omega-3, I'm sure, in the lower calorie ones as well.
No, whenever, seriously, they did the study, and
Okay.
only, the omega-3s are only in the whole organic.
Okay.
If they reduce the fat content, those are some of the fats that are eliminated.
Okay, see, that would make sense, at least for the 0%. Maybe there might be a little bit in the 1% or 2%. I'll give you that. But
a question about using like a carton that's versus like something that's like that the light goes through that you're losing.
Yellow carton, what she's talking about.
yeah,
I think it's a marketing one.
I'm really not sure how to answer that question, to be perfectly honest. I don't, does anybody know the answer to that? If there's a difference between the two, or difference between the cartons? I know that the cartons now reduce the amount of light that gets to the product, but I don't know anything else
Yeah,
beyond
the
that.
cartons are usually like that. The jugs are usually like in a clear or
Translucent.
opaque plastic.
Uh-huh.
If there's actually a difference of what's being lost.
I don't really think so. I just think if you keep it well refrigerated, you should be fine as far as maintaining the nutrient composure. Yeah, just don't keep it outside.
But the girls now, the gallons, the jugs and stuff, they've actually changed the gauge of the plastic to try to compensate for the
Okay, there you go.
And keep it inside the refrigerator as opposed to in the door. They don't recommend you keep it
Right,
in the
because
door
when you
anymore.
open the door a lot, yep, that's the first thing to go bad. Yep.
Would the coconut milk or almond milk or the soy milk and all that, would that be better than the regular milk?
Yes.
You know what, I can't really say that it would be better. The whole point to having dairy or us even having the conversation about milk is getting those vitamins and minerals, especially calcium and vitamin D. So as long as those milk, other options are fortified with calcium and with vitamin D, I don't think that there's really anything wrong. However, you do want to look at it side by side to make sure too that nutrient profile wise, meaning fat wise, that it's adding up. So you wouldn't want to have skim milk and then say I'm going to have almond milk, full fat almond for full fat, but almond milk in place of that. The fat comparison's not right. But it is a good alternative option for people that can't have lactose in their diet. Yes.
I will add to her question. My osteoporosis doctor that specializes in that, he said almond milk to drink it versus the other for your bones.
Okay, sure.
Which I was surprised. But
Yeah, I mean, as long as it has calcium, as long as it's fortified with calcium and with vitamin D, you should be fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Yeah, it's a great option. But really, the point of this slide is just to make sure that if you're choosing a full fat or even a 2% milk or milk alternative, try to think about lowering it. It's making small changes that make a big difference. And I know in our household, going from even 2% to, I don't know if there's a 1.5, but any half increment is painful in our house. But any small change that you can make will be for the better. Okay, great plate tip number 7, make half of your grains whole grains. Now, what does it mean by whole grains? Next slide. It means foods that haven't been further processed to take out the good stuff, to take out the fiber, to take out the vitamins and minerals, especially the B vitamins. So whole grains are like brown rice. It's basically anything that has whole in the name. So whole wheat. Now I'm losing a blank. These are all whole rye, whole grain, whole wheat pasta. We've got brown rice. Basically anything that is like a darker color. It kind of has a nutty texture to it. Those are whole grains. So refined grains are the white breads, and those are the things that we know that we need to limit. And overall, if you can have, for your bread servings, if you can make half of them whole grain, then you're really getting the health benefits, which are increased fiber, increased B vitamins, and folate, and that's what your body needs. Yes?
Yeah, just to give you an idea, in the Italian market right now, a tremendous amount of your Italian restaurants are making sure that they're having the whole wheat pasta is available, and now putting it on the menus. You're now seeing gluten-free for the people for that. So, you know, you're really, you see it in the restaurant community, which is a lot slower than what you are in the store and what you do. So, you know, you have to really look at it. I'm a diabetic. I'm a type 2. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to your starches and stuff, you really have to pay attention. You have to have it. You just have to balance throughout the whole day. And I thought it was kind of interesting, and just shared something real quick. You were mentioning about, you know, like the starches. So for instance, they use a 4 count, all right? If you go to McDonald's and you have fries, that's a 3 count. So you best to stay away from it, because guess what? You know, that hamburger bun, that's 2 count. So if you have a hamburger and you have fries, you're 5 count. So as a diabetic, you have a major problem.
Yep.
You can't do it. If you're type 2, stop.
Yeah,
Don't do
you're
it.
getting too many
So,
carbs.
you know, so this, you know, eating right and all that, it's just amazing. So how many people are diabetic in this room?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got some bad news. There's a lot more of you that are diabetic, you just don't know it. It's a guarantee, it's 25% of the population is diabetic. 1 out of 4.
Yeah, so it's really important.
So check your blood.
Diabetic or not diabetic, to make sure that you watch what you eat, okay? And whole grains can definitely help with that, help with leveling out your blood sugar levels. Great tip number 8, foods to eat less often. So who can tell me what those foods would be without looking at the screen? The cake pops and everything you have for lunch. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so it's foods, yeah. So it's foods that are high in fats, sugars, and even sodium too. So those are what, in my opinion, all the good stuff. This should be limited on special occasions. I'm not saying to completely cut it out, that would be crazy. But to make sure that when you have it, maybe have it in a smaller amount, or maybe just not have it as often. If you want to have a whole pie, go for it. But maybe spread it out, not in one sitting.
Yeah. Next year, maybe
Yeah.
refer to Saturday.
Have it
because
for-
There we go. So you can practice what you learned, right?
By the way, at your functions, by the way, I just told you 25% of the population is diabetic. I take it very personally when a restaurant does not have a no sugar added dessert. So when you're serving desserts at your churches, please have a no sugar added. Or fruit.
Definitely.
Or offer fruit. Offer fruit as a, you know, as a substitute to the apple pie.
Right. So tip number 9, drink water instead of sugary drinks. I think that's a given. You should have on average, about 8 glasses of water a day. If you exercise more or have a higher activity level, you probably want to drink more, and especially if you live here in Houston or in Florida, as a lot of you guys do, or anywhere where it's hot, you probably need to drink more water than 8. And tip number 10, drum roll, compare sodium in foods. And how we can do that is think fresh. If you have a product like fruits or vegetables, or even, fruits, vegetables, or even meat, that's gonna be very low in sodium. So anything that's further processed typically has sodium in it. A way to reduce the sodium is to cook at home, because you know what you're putting in your foods. You're usually making it from individual ingredients and putting it all together. When you're at a restaurant, obviously, I guess you could go back there and see how they prepare the food. I'm sure they'd let you do that. But you just really don't know how they make it. So it's always best to cook at home, or if you can't cook at home, just ask if they can make it without as much sodium. Other options, whenever you're looking at product labels or food items, is to look for something that says low salt, reduced sodium. Anything that has sodium and reduced in the name will probably be better for you than the original option.
Another way is that use frozen vegetables instead of canned, because cans have preservatives in, which are mostly sodium, and your flash frozen ones usually don't.
Yep, that is true. Yep, they don't add extra sodium to that. And even for the canned ones too, you can rinse that off, but still there is gonna be just a little bit of residual there, yeah. So I've gone through the 10 tips to a great plate. They were balanced calories, enjoy food, what you guys can read the slide. And you took notes, so good job. So now I'm gonna go through just really quickly how to read a nutrition label. So I've equipped you with all of these health facts about how to make your plate healthy, but what if you have just a product in front of you and you're trying to figure out, is this something good for me or is this something bad? So I'm gonna go through really quickly how to read a nutrition label and how to figure out if it's something good or something that we should eat less of. Now, before I do that, I just wanted to say that I am teaching you guys the current nutrition label in the stores right now. The FDA has proposed a new nutrition label, which is what you see on the right-hand side. It looks a little bit different than the current label. You'll see that calories are more predominant, as well as the serving size, and they've kind of flipped the nutrients around and changed some out. So I do know that I'm gonna be teaching you guys the current way versus what could be in the future. They say that it's gonna be 3 to 5 years out, so you can just erase that from your mind. Okay, so the nutrition facts panel. So the first thing that you should do, I wish I had one. Does anybody have any, did anybody bring food in here? We can go through and analyze, is this a good or bad product? Ah, here we go. Oh, that is a good one. Oh, we already know this is gonna be a healthy one. Okay, oh, good, okay. Thanks, you guys, for giving me snaps. Okay, so we wanna start, so on a nutrition label, look at this, and we wanna start at the top. So we wanna start with the serving size and the servings per container. So what we learned earlier was all about the hands, about serving sizes. On this one, we have 1 pouch, okay, so that's a whole thing, and they're saying servings per container is 1. So I know that all of the nutrition labels is 1 guy. And this one is 1 package, so the whole thing too. Okay, gotcha, so we're good there. Now if you have does anybody have one of those, a bottle of Coke or something? No, of course not, you're all healthy, you would never. But let's just say you did. Yeah, one bottle of Coke is usually 20 ounces, and they say that it's about 2 certain, maybe they say 2.5, yeah. So you've got to be really careful about that. They're hoping that the new nutrition labels cover that, but for right now, you've got to really be careful about what the serving size says. So these are both 1. So the next thing we want to do is we want to check the calorie level. So this one, this fruit one, has 60 calories. So not bad. Actually, it's pretty low. Overall, if you're thinking in terms of snacks, you want to be right around the 100 calorie range. I would say about 120 calories or less is an appropriate snack choice, okay? About 100 calories or less. So this one has 60, this one has 120. Wow, we are doing good so far with these two guys. Okay, we're checking the calories per serving. So then the next thing we want to do is look at these nutrients, which this is fat, all the fats, cholesterol, and sodium. These are the ones that we need to make sure that they're on the low end. Okay, so let's see here. On this fruit one, everything is showing 0 because this is perfect. And then, and then this one, this is Best Buy. It's good, nice. 3.5 grams of fat. Okay, that's pretty low. In general, for fat, it depends on the product, but you want to stay, let's say, stay within the 0 to 3 gram range. So this is 3.5, which is fine, it's close enough. Saturated fat, that's the fat that hurts your heart, and so does trans fat. So we want to make sure that we limit those as much as possible. And I know food manufacturers are really conscious of that, and they do their best to make sure that it basically registers as 0. So on both of these, actually this one has 1 gram of saturated fat, so not too bad. These show all 0. Okay, cholesterol, it comes from animals. So if these are non-animal products, they'll have 0, which this one is 0, and this one is 0. There we go. For sodium, I just talked about how we want to make sure that we limit it. 140 is kind of the standard number to work with. If it's less than 140, we say that it's a low sodium option. So this one is 115, and then this one is just 15. So good. So far, so good on these two. Okay. Let's see. Okay, limit those nutrients. And then we want to make sure that we get more of fiber and then all the vitamins that are at the bottom. So let's see how we are in fiber. Okay, so this one has 1 gram of fiber, which is good. That's really great. And then this one also has 1 gram. Okay, these are basically the same things.
Did
Okay.
you mention the carbs? What is the carbohydrate?
Not yet.
Oh, what is it? I haven't talked about carbs yet, but yeah, so with carbs, carbs are kind of a funny thing because I feel like they've gotten such a bad rep, but at the same time, I feel like we probably eat too many of them, period. So in general, 1 serving, and this is for even for the diabetics too, 1 serving of carbs is about 15 grams, okay? So like, for example, this one shows, it's 14 grams, so this is 1 serving of carbs. And then this one is 21, so 1.5,
Right.
okay?
Yeah,
So these aren't too
diabetics, they
bad.
say exactly 15
Yep.
per snack.
Yep,
It'll be 30 for the meal.
for the meal, yep.
30 to
And-
45.
Yeah, and everybody's meal patterns, especially with being diabetic, can be different too, or even what your activity level is like throughout the day. But in general, just following a 1 pattern or a 1-to-1 pattern where you've got 1 carbohydrate and 1 protein to balance those out. Okay, let's see. More fiber the better. They've both got 1 gram of fiber. Sugars, that's really a hot topic now. Overall, we know that we're eating too much sugar in our diet, and there's sugar in everything. You can't avoid it in the food supply. You really can't. But at the same time, we can monitor it and we can watch and make sure that we're getting a lower amount. On this one, it's got 8, and then this one's got 13. The reason that this one has 13 is because it's fruit sugar. It has to have sugar in it. Okay, so then the next one is protein. Protein is what balances out your carbohydrate. The easiest way to put it is it's a balancer for carbohydrates. If you have 1 carbohydrate, have 1 protein. So 15 grams of carbohydrate, 7 grams of protein. That's what balances your blood sugar levels out, okay? This one doesn't have any protein because it's a fruit, and then this one has just 2 grams, so that's fine. Okay, good. And then also we want to make sure too at the bottom that we're getting a high amount of vitamins and minerals. So just a standard rule to follow, even across the side where it has a %DB, if it says 5%, that's a low number. If it has 20% or greater, that's a really high number, okay? So if it says, in this case, calcium 45%, that's huge. It's a great source of it's actually an excellent source of calcium. Let's see, this one should be high in, yep. This one has 20% vitamin C, and you would think that because it's a fruit. It's very high in vitamin C. This one has vitamin A, calcium, and iron, just a good amount. So good. So overall, do we think these are healthy snacks?
Yes.
Good. Yes, they are. Thanks, you guys.
Can you pass those around?
Yeah, do y'all want to see? Do you mind if we pass
Sample
them
them.
around?
Sample them.
Okay, I'm afraid of you guys, I don't trust y'all.
Well, I know that the thing is, now they say you shouldn't buy stuff with high fructose corn syrup.